My name is Melodie Galloway. In this three-part series, I'll be showing you how to develop a beautiful singing voice using classical voice building techniques. This method can be used by beginning voice students or can also be effectively used by more experienced singers. In this presentation, I'm going to explore three areas of singing technique: body and breath, tone, and expression. So let's get started. When it comes to your body position in singing, you want to keep in mind that your spine is happiest when it's straight. Now, none of our spines are exactly straight, of course. We have a natural curve. But if you think of a plumb line going through the body from the head to the toe, that's the center line. And for the singer, this is really important. If you're singing in a position that is kind of off balance, standing or sitting, you're not going to have the correct alignment for proper singing, for good singing, for a beautiful sound. So as you're standing tall to start, think about that straight up and down alignment. And also you want to feel grounded to the floor, like you're anchored to the earth. Imagine that your feet are firmly planted, like a strong tree trunk. They're slightly apart, and your weight is evenly distributed. You might even go back and forth with your hips to find the center point, rocking from side to side, a little bit front to back. Next, we're going to talk about breath. Properly supported breath is very important for creating an optimal sound. The way you develop a good singing breath is to think about the breath not coming in at the clavicle level, or what they call clavicular breathing. Instead, we're thinking about diaphragmatic breathing or low breath. When you inhale, the diaphragm drops and a vacuum is created for air to come in. Your body has the ability to expand. As trained singers know, the more they can expand muscular and skeletal systems when they breathe in, when they take in a breath, and then use those intercostal muscles to support that exhale, which rides under the sound, then the better their voice is going to be, the more power and the more flexibility they will have. So, take a deep breath with me, expanding this lower area of the body. And then as you exhale, think about pulling in with those muscles. Try that a couple of times. As you're running out of air, you're putting in more of that muscle power. And that's what helps you create a beautiful singing tone. Another way of thinking about the breath is something that I call the 3-2-1 effect. 3-2-1. 3 is abdominal. I'm going to expand and think mentally that the air is going into the body at a very lower centered place. 3, abdominal. And then 2 is intercostal, kind of that rib cage area. I'm going to expand here. The final stage, or 1, is sternal. Now, we don't want to lift our shoulders when we inhale, but we do want to hold our sternum out, thinking of expanding even here, even at the top of the lungs. So exhale, let's try it. 3, 2, 1, and exhale. As you practice this, you can think of your body as a Christmas tree with a tall, straight spine. Do this by thinking and breathing in 3, 2, 1. Then the whole body, the whole mechanism is ready to go. I'm going to put a list of good breathing exercises in the presentation so that you can check that out and use those in your daily practice. Good singers know that to get better and to build your voice, you really need daily work. Our second section is tone. People ask me, how do you achieve a rich, beautiful tone? Well, it depends on a combination of factors. How you shape the aperture is one. Here's the aperture. Your mouth, your tongue, the soft and hard palates, and the larynx or the laryngeal space. So if you're singing, say like this. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber ways of grain. So, that's hard to do. If you're singing like this and your teeth are clenched and your aperture is completely closed, then you can hear how it sounds with the sound kind of trapped like that or muffled. No matter how beautifully you try to sing, there's no place for the vowels to be heard clearly. So how you shape the aperture, how you pronounce the vowels and the consonants, and how you support the tone well, all combine to create the sound that you want. The best thing you can do in creating and crafting, learning how to sing well, is to do exercises like sustaining one note on one vowel shape. Let's take an oo. We're going to take this pitch. Ooh. I'm going to take that long, deep breath and then sing. Ooh. You can sing it with vibrato or without vibrato, getting as steady a tone as you can. I'm singing with low muscular support and breath energy, which comes from engaging those abdominal muscles as you start singing and spinning out the tone. Another issue of tone is in learning how to use a good supportive breath to sing a steady, lyrical line. And we're going to need to understand the register changes across the range of our voice to do this. For instance, try singing from high to low. I'm just going from my head voice, that high part of the voice, down into the middle range of the voice, all the way down into the chest voice. Now, male and female singers have those registers as well as falsetto. Male falsetto is fairly obvious with most male singers, in which they can sing some quite strongly and some quite well in the female vocal range. Falsetto for female singers is sometimes called a whistle tone, in which the voice is able to sound in extremely high ranges. As you work through these vocal exercises that I've added here, don't be afraid to explore what your voice can do. Just be sure not to strain or let the voice be forced in any way. An exercise like the one I just demonstrated, singing from high in the head voice register to deep into the chest voice, let's do it with me. So don't worry if your voice cracks as it moves through the register changes. Unless you've been studying classical singing for a long time, where you learn to smooth out these registers, you will probably experience some shifting or cracking in the sound. Register changes are natural. Good singing practice helps you achieve more control over these changes. The next exercise I'm going to demonstrate uses something called a lip buzz. To do this, you have to use enough energy behind the ear to make the lips vibrate together, like this. This immediately engages that breath support and energizes the abdominal muscles. A good way to do this and practice this is by buzzing through some little hills, like this. You may go as high as you want to or as low as you want to. The one thing that singers want to stay away from is tension here, the laryngeal cavity. You don't want to start getting tight here. If you get tight, there are lots of good exercises you can do to release the tension. One is simply just stop singing and move that head around. You're going to keep on thinking, okay, I'm going to keep the power and the support in the lower abdominal muscles and take the tension off the throat. You can intentionally relax your throat. Think about it for a minute. Another good thing if you get tight is to stop singing, take a deep breath, relax, and feel the beginnings of a yawn space in the back of your throat. Oh, this unlocks the tension and brings you back into a more relaxed state. If you're singing a phrase to a song you know, if you're using one phrase from a song that you are really comfortable singing, it can be a good tool to use for building a beautiful sound. You want to choose something that has a nice lilting melody. For instance, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. One long phrase. I don't want to breathe in the middle because I'm building that phrase and growing that line. I'm also thinking about shaping the aperture and using the space. Ooh. I'm not trying to put effects on the tone. I'm just shaping what we call in the choral world tall, rounded vowels. I'm dreaming of a white. One of the main reasons choral directors ask singers to round the vowels and match the vowels to each other is to create the best tuning among the individual voices. You can imagine it would be very difficult to tune the singers if they're all singing the vowels shaped differently. And so, as you are building your own tone, you will want to shape the vowels in such a way that you can manage a supportive breath and sing with a consistent sound, no matter what style of music you're singing. An excellent short phrase you can use as a vocal exercise for sustaining the breath and singing a steady phrase is one from a song that is probably familiar to many of you, America the Beautiful. Let's get a good low breath. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. You want to take a deep enough breath in order to get all the way through that phrase. And you also want to sing it on a comfortable pitch in a comfortable range. Watch for tightness in your throat while you're working on this. This is one exercise among a longer list of good vocal practice steps that I'll add here. Our last area that I'd like to talk about is expression. When you express yourself by singing a song, you have a lot to communicate, a lot to work on in practice to get the meaning across. You have a beautiful tonal quality when this happens, even by thinking of telling the story. And to sing in the right resonant space, it also helps us shape the phrase and do what we want to with a song. First, let's start with communication. Every song tells a story. No matter what song, even if you're not singing, but you're playing an instrument, you are telling a story. Starting here, you're developing with it. When you start, you're doing more with whatever that initial theme or phrase might be, and then you're coming to a conclusion. Singing a song is the same. So one thing singers learn to do is to bring the emotion through the voice. Throughout the 19th century, art song in Italy, Lied in Germany, or chanson in France, was developed as a craft for singers to convey all of the emotion and drama of the text, whether poetry or prose, through the voice itself, with the piano often as equal partner in crafting the story. Listening to this music can teach us a lot about vocal tone and color, and that is an almost endless treasure trove for the singer. One of the best things you can do is listen to singers, especially singers you would like to emulate. If you're listening to those singers, then you can start to mimic them with your own voice. You can start thinking about vocal tone and how you support the phrase and how you produce the sound and even record yourself singing. Play it back and think, am I matching up with this sound and doing it in a healthy way? This might be something you haven't given much thought before. If you close your eyes while you're listening and think about the tone, think whether the words match up with the tone you're hearing, or is it just something stylized for the sound itself? Sometimes you can really be surprised when you isolate only the voice and listen for tone and meaning. Developing expression, you do want to work on resonance or vocal placement. This is what singers use when they want to put different colors and different effects and bring life to the song. The vocal placement or resonance can range from bright to very, very dark or covered resonance. This could be heard in something like our national anthem, per se. This is a covered sound. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? I'm putting the tone in the far back place in my aperture. You do this to create an effect, but you'll notice I'm still using proper breath support, opening the space, keeping the sternum up, all those things that use good technique to support the tone. Now the opposite of that is a bright or forward or even nasal tonal placement. This is a resonant space that is utilized primarily in Broadway, but is also heard in some other styles of music. You might try singing something extremely far forward in the nasal space, like this. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? It's really far forward, I know. All I'm doing, though, is breathing, supporting the tone, and thinking, I'm going to now put this very far forward in the nose, this nasal placement. Sometimes I practice like this. And the more you can practice and get out of the box, maybe out of your comfort zone of maybe how you've always sung, then you can explore these resonant spaces you might have never phonated in before. This is a sound that is very much on the teeth, like you're singing through your eyes. You'll find it's amazing when you start experimenting with this and discovering the back vocal tone, the very far forward vocal tone, and then find that something midway, perhaps, is the best place. But until you've kind of pushed those extremes, you don't really know how far that can go and what that might sound like. Also, what it sounds like sometimes in your head to you is different from what it sounds like to someone else. That's why it's good to record yourself. It's good to sing for someone you trust, like a vocal coach, to confirm how you sound and what you should work on more. So that midway place between extremes, back and the front, can be the best place to sing. You know that you've got that flexibility. For instance, I'll try, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? I'm pretty far forward in my resonance space, but I'm also adding this space extra in the back. You try it. Pick your song, a song you know that has some long phrases. Choose one of those and sing it both ways, or sing it all three ways. See what happens and how each place feels. Finally, in thinking about expression, you want to think about how you phrase something, how you phrase the lyrical melodic line. This is really important, and you'll hear how singers phrase lines in all kinds of different ways. You want to shape the lines using dynamics, too, that come through the tone. Dynamics are the louds and softs and all the subtleties in between. The singer's completely in charge of that, and the more control you have, the better the tone and the expression will be. You often, in singing a phrase, want to think about starting softly. Most of the time, you don't want to come out banging, beginning with a loud sound, unless you're singing something that requires that. But you usually want to build on the phrase. The phrase itself should be as if you're telling a story, even with that one little phrase. There's a beginning, a development, a denouement, or the conclusion. This might be demonstrated best with a Beatles song, one of my faves. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. So you want to start a phrase, grow a phrase, end a phrase. But again, you've got a large range of possibilities for how you want to bend that phrase and shape that tone. The best singers in the world plan out every phrase, every breath, and how they're going to sing what. How loud, how soft, when it's going to be more guttural, when it's going to be more nasal. It's not a happenstance thing. Of course, there's improvisation, but even that comes with a lot of practice and a lot of experimentation. And it comes after you learn where your register changes are, supporting the tone so that if you want to flip into a higher register or spin out the phrase a little longer, you've got that support and you've got enough power and enough breath, energy to do that. In conclusion, beautiful singing requires daily practice. Like anything with music and almost anything in life, it requires daily work because it's physical and mental. So this is training your body like you would train for a marathon run. You want to do it incrementally. You want to do it at your own pace, but you want to do something every day. Daily practice can also keep your voice healthy and provide a voice and build on a voice that you can use and have the flexibility with and speak well through every age and stage of your life. Using proper singing technique will build and strengthen your vocal ability. Singing also brightens your mood and helps you keep a positive outlook. And if there's anything we need right now, it's a positive outlook. It just makes you feel better, but it also builds confidence. It's something that's also easily shared with others. So, join a choir. It will bring joy to your life, and keep singing. Thank you.